But Robbie, Earle, you're saying do not sleep on our two clubs today that we will see Aston Villa and Leeds United.
Put Chelsea to one side. We know these gossip. Manchester Derby, North London Derby. Put that to one side. Let's talk about Aston Villa and let's talk about Leeds United. Let's talk about Birmingham and Yorkshire. Two clubs, two areas that are very proud of their football club. Football clubs with ambition, football clubs with size, and football clubs that, if run well, if we could put in context, if financed well, could compete with the top 6 to 8 teams in the country. I look at Aston Villa. They've won the European Cup, which is the sort of latter version of what now is the Champions League. They've won the old First Division title. This is a club that's ambitious, that's got owners that want to bring European football, that's redeveloping the stadium to get 50,000 people in. This is a big football club, and it's an important period in the season now where they have to start to make steps to get in the top half of the table and start building towards the vision that they would like of European football back at Villa Park.
Maybe a couple of sleeping giants. Would you agree with that, Tim?
100% agree with what Robbie's saying. I've even played Cup semi-finals at Villa Park. Yeah. Villa is the biggest club in the Midlands. I mean, it is tailor-made to be one of the big 6. We see it happening up at Newcastle. You know, when you've played up and down the country like Robbie and I have, certain clubs feel big, and Villa Park and Aston Villa feels big. The fan base is there. The stadium is there. Oftentimes, they've had teams down the years that have been championship-caliber teams. This is a club, as Robbie said, if financed right. I like the manager in Unai Emery. I like that he is a builder. He's won. He's shown that he's won. Didn't have a great time at Arsenal, but he's won in Europe. And I think this is an opportunity for him to build this club forward.
We've seen a bit of a blueprint out there, too, with Newcastle moving into one of the elite clubs in the Premier League. They've spent a lot of money, though, since new ownership took over, $265 million, I believe. Leeds and Aston Villa, about half that they've spent in that period.
But it's not crazy money. It's not the kind of money that Leeds and Aston Villa couldn't find if they were on the way up. And the thing that stands out for me with Newcastle is it's all been built off great management. Great management by Eddie Howe. He's gone in there. Yeah, there's been no Galacticos. There's been no superstar signings that we all thought were coming. It's been regulated, it's been sound, it's been well looked at players who know they're going to fit the right profile for Newcastle United. Newcastle United sitting right there in there and riding well. And I think Aston Villa, certainly in Unai Emery, feel they've got that kind of guy with a similar profile. Leeds United, still a bit of a question mark for Jesse Marsh, and that's where Jesse's now got the next 4 or 5 games in this season for Jesse Marsh is huge, I think. It sets up what's going to be, what this season's going to be. Is it going to be a fight against relegation, or can this team start to make moves up the league and start putting the building blocks down for a club that's very ambitious, for an ownership group, including the San Francisco 49ers, who want European football back at Ellen Road?
Would you agree with that? Aston Villa maybe a little bit closer to realising those dreams of top half of the table?
I do, because the one caveat with Leeds is I'd say they have to be a little bit careful, right? We talk about Newcastle and Villa. They went through a small period where they were yo-yo clubs, but for the most part, they've tasted Premier League success. Yeah. Leeds has been away for so incredibly long, Robbie, that it's almost like I know the history, but you've been away too long. You now have to incrementally build, focus on finishing top 10. Great. If you can do that, 1 or 2 seasons, then maybe you focus on spending a little bit more getting into Europe, and then you try and do that as a sustainable model for years to come. I think it's really difficult for Leeds to do that instantaneously.
I totally agree. And I think for Jesse, it's about... He talked when we were at the desk with him at Ellen Road about my players are learning on the job, really. As they were going, they were learning. I think he's a bit the same. I think he's learning on the job of being a Premier League manager and what he's got to achieve at Leeds United. Tim talked about fan base and what it means to a football club. We were at Ellen Road. I've got to tell you, there's a special feel about that place with the fans and what it means and the connection. And that's what Jesse's got to kind of harness and try and build and start going in the right direction.
They're going to need that extra boost. They are 14th in the table right now, but just 2 points above the relegation zone as we sit here.
Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe, studio host for NBC's coverage of the Premier League. Don't forget to hit subscribe to watch more videos all season long. For even more Premier League content, from original series to live matches, head over to Peacock and be sure to tune in for Premier League mornings every weekend on USA Network and on Peacock. We will see you over there.